everyone. Gina coming to you live from the Hive, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and welcome to today's technique class. Just gonna move things just a little bit. So I see some of you popped on. I had a little bit of a spinning wheel of death going on, and we were trying to get that figured out. And I gotta text my kid again. Here we go. They were still sleeping when I left the house, so. Okay, comments, here we go. Wendy is in the house. Linda from Canada, Miss Karen Wetstein, Mary Novak from Kansas, and Dee and Dawn. So welcome, ladies. Let's see, I'll kind of tell you guys a little bit about what's going on, what I've got coming up, and then good morning, Miss Mary, mischievous Mary, I call her. And then we'll get to stamping. So first I'll kind of show you, Friday I'll be back live. I have the Celebrate Together workshop slash scrapbooking slash card workshop. And this class, you have to place a $70 order, so it's a product-based class, and in that class, you do need to order the Celebrate Together workshop kit. Whether you have it already or not, doesn't matter. So either add it to your kit or add it to your order, and then I include extras for you when you order through me. So there's extra cardstock, there's extra die cuts, there's ribbons, there's gems, things like that. So I started working on it the other day. Yes, I just started working on it. And some of you may have saw a post, and I just thought I'd talk a little bit about my process a little bit. And I do this with card making too. Good morning, Judy and Susan. You're in Florida, and Angelique is in the house. Lots of you guys popping in. And so I had showed the start of one. And what I always do sometimes is I use computer paper. I cut it up to what sizes I want things and lay things out. And then I started adding different elements. So I've never done a starburst layout either with a scrapbook or a card. I know we had a starburst die before, and I've done that, but I've never done my own, cut my own starburst and things like that. So I thought, I loved all these colors, and I thought they made a beautiful array. So I thought I would do that. So I'm going to pop you guys down, let you kind of see I'm kind of in the middle steps of things, and then you'll see the final production come Friday. So we'll switch you around. Good morning, Jeannie and Holly. So you saw on my Facebook page, if you're following me there, let's see, move my camera a little bit. There we go. I had DSP down, and I had all these white starbursts because I didn't want to, I'm always one, I don't want to, you don't want to mess up your DSP. If you cut your DSP wrong, that's a sad day, right? And you don't want to waste any of your DSP. So I cut the starburst out. So here's the start of my layout. So we're going to have some drinks down here and some greenery, and I don't know what else I'll add, but this is kind of how I start out. I figure out kind of how I want my page to lay out. So I put these out, and I put some photo mats down, and I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want. And I knew I was going to add this title, and then I'll go back, and then I'll add the elements of sometimes the ribbon, the gems. I'm thinking maybe some butterflies somewhere along the way. I don't know. So here's this one. This one, you know, just kind of started. I want to add a few elements yet, but this is a start. And the same with these two layouts. So this is the one I was thinking, oh, I want to add, I got a pencil mark, I think, some butterflies or something too. So this is kind of how I start, and then I go through and I add more pieces. And I do the same thing with my cards also. So this class, I'll be live at 1 o'clock on Friday with this. Okay, so then I also have coming up this month, we have Morning Create. We have our scrapbook class, and I'll be doing bingo. I have not done bingo in a very long time, so we'll be doing that too. And I got a reply to my son because he has a rider picking him up. He has marching band today, and like I said, they were all sleeping when I left.
kids these
And
days.
so now they're just texting me because they're just waking up and, Mom, what's the plan today? Blah, blah, blah. So that's how it rolls in my house. Even though Mom has told them already, but you know how that goes. So, oh, I lost my comments, guys. Let's get you back up here. All right. Okay. Let's show you rub-ons. How many of you have used rub-ons before? I don't know if Stampin' Up! Had rub-ons back in the day, but when I first started scrapbooking, so around 2000, 2001, rub-ons were really big things. I have tons of rub-ons. And they used to come in like words, some were, you know, like these are now, all sorts of different things you could get rub-ons in. Well, Stampin' Up! Has come back out with metallic rub-ons. So they come out in, oh, I'm missing, here we go. Okay, so they come in an 8-pack like this, and there's gold and there's silver. So you're gonna get 2 gold in this, and 2 gold in this, and 2 silver in this, and 2 silver in this. So the same designs, 2 of each. So I hope you guys understand that. So you're gonna get 2 of one design in silver and 2 silver in another design. So total of 8, and I believe the pack is $13.50. Now, the nice thing about these is, I don't remember if some of you remember back in the day, if you used rub-ons, we used to use like a popsicle stick, and you really had to rub really, really hard, and then you lifted so gently to make sure that your rub-on was on. That way you didn't tear it or whatever, because it's almost like it's a sticker, but it's, I don't want to say, it's like a sticker, but it's not like a sticker. So, you know, it's like it's all connected together, but yet it doesn't look like it. I don't know how to explain it. So, I'm going to show you a little bit different ways that you can use it by cutting them apart. I did try one thing, and I'll show you guys that on my card. It didn't work out. It was a fail. That happens, but I needed to try it. So let's get stamping, okay? So we'll put these aside. So in this kit's, normally my technique class is 22. I did change it to 24 for this month. You're gonna get 2 sheets. You're gonna get 1 silver and 1 gold included in your kit. And then you'll have plenty of leftovers to add to cards or scrapbooks, whichever you prefer. So there'll be tons of extra stuff left over. Okay. So for our first card, yes, it's like a tattoo. Any of the tattoos that, you know, your kids get, and you add that little bit of water, except you don't need any water with this, and they apply really, really easy. So our first card, we're gonna do this. So we've got strips of DSP, a bat, here's our inside, some trees. So we're gonna add this rub-on to our label. And I'm going to be using different rub-ons than what I have in here, because I'm just using up what was on my page here. So I think I'm going to use, I should have probably thought this out before I went on live, right?
How, like, there's no fun.
Right? What should I use? I think I will use like this one here, this one, and this one. And so you can cut these out. So I'm going to cut this out, and just to use the pieces that I want. So you have this really pretty wreath here. You could do something with this and add some gems. You've got some leaves here. Could add those. Okay. And we're going to be covering up the middle part, so just be aware. This one was one long tattoo, and there was actually one that looks like tree bark. Let me see. That is what I originally used. I was going to grab that and I didn't bring it in. So it looks like tree bark, but when I put it on, I felt like it looked like tiger stripes or zebra stripes. So I didn't like that. So we went with this more solid one, which is right here. But I'm going to use these on this one. So save your wreath. And I'm actually going to cut this in half again, this bigger one, so that I have some on each side of my circle. So it comes off like this. So here was the backing. You're just going to carefully lay this on where you want. It does kind of stick, so you have to be careful to not stick it down before you're ready to put it on. And then all you do is take your finger and rub it on, and then gently lift it off. Look at that. How cool is that? We're going to do that with the other side here. Figure out where I want it. Rub it on. And you don't have to press super hard or anything. They go on really, really easy. The garbage can is missing. I keep looking for it. And I'm like, oh, I better not dump that on the floor. And I want a little bit more. I don't need it. I'm all good. But I'm actually going to only take and put a little dot there.
You want Kelly to keep the queen title for making the most mess when you're working out the live station.
So I'm only patting down some of this so I can get some dots spread out all over. By the end of this video, I will have figured out the garbage really isn't here. It's just automatic to put my hand down there and put things in there. Yes, Holly, these are so easy to use. And I'm just pressing down, like I said, the couple circles here. I'm not putting the whole thing down. Oops. Okay, the rest of it went flying. So we've got our speckles on here, super easy. So now it's time to put our card together. So we got a piece of Misty Moonlight and white. And the nice thing about this is we are not going to put these on here straight, so there's no worry about lining these up a certain way. Some are going to be higher, some are going to be lower. This is to make it easy for all of us. With some of us have a little OCD about straight lines and stuff.
I don't know anybody like that.
All right, I don't know anyone like that. There might be, it starts with a C, ends in an E or an S, depends how you want to spell it. So we're gonna just layer them like this. Actually, I'm gonna flip them all over, put glue on. That way I still have a little bit of wiggle room when I lay them down. So this is a great layout for those that want to show off DSP. This is a great way to use up different DSPs together. See, I feel like my spacing is a little off, so I still have that wiggle room to go like that, okay? Then we're gonna take our linen thread, we're gonna fold it in half and wrap it around our card base. They're working so diligently over there on getting those fun in the sun boxes out to everyone.
We had 88 out yesterday, but we had 25 left.
Oh, 88 boxes went out yesterday and 25 left for today. That's a lot of boxes. Lots of goodies going out in the mail.
My first shipment to Alaska.
Ooh, first shipment to Alaska. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
How fun is that? Now, we can add this to our card base. Gonna burnish our edges. Angelique says hello. Put that on. We're gonna pop up our circle, or our label. Our circle is next. So feel free when you get these kits to intermix whether you want silver or gold, whatever you want to do. Like I said, you're going to get one sheet of each, one silver, one gold, and you'll have a design of each. So feel free to do whichever designs work best for you on your cards. So we're going to bring in Scenic Adventures. And I love that you can stamp these words in here like this. I love how they created this. And we're going to bring in Misty and a little early espresso. Stamp that in the center, and then I will bring in Journey for this one. So you have Adventure or Journey that you can put in the middle of Let Thee Begin. And they nestle really nice in the center like that. Clean off our stamps so I don't make a mess. And we're going to bring in this little tiny tree in this set, and that's what we're going to use for the inside. And I am going to pop up my circle. And that will go in the center. And I probably should have put my trees down. I forgot to put my trees down. So I would have put my trees down probably before I put my label down. But you guys know, sometimes I do things backwards. Or I get ahead of myself. I get so excited to get my card put together.
Nobody can relate to that at all.
Nope. I remember, you know, when Chris and I would stamp, she'd be, Gina, you can't glue that down yet. And I'm like, why? And she's like, you got to add ribbon, or you got to do this. I'm like, ah. See, I've got all sorts of sound effects for you guys today. So we'll just lift up our label, tuck in our trees. So real simple card. And then we have some of these white sequins. And on the inside of my card, we're going to stamp a full strength tree and then bring it down a little bit lower and do a second strength. And then I'm going to leave no sentiment on here because I'm going to save this. These might make great graduation cards or a birthday, a thank you, a good luck, you know, type of card. So this is many different things that you could do with this card. So that is card number 1. So how many of you are going to need rub-ons in your world? Okay, card number 2 is this beauty. Check that out, right? And I don't use soft seafoam a lot, and so that was kind of fun to bring that in and use that color. We'll put our white inside. Oh, look at that. I forgot to put this out. There we go. Put our white inside there. We're going to layer our strawberry. We saved paper by cutting out of the middle. And layer like this. And we're going to layer up our flowers a little bit. Now these flowers, if you have the stamp set at home, this is Pretty Florals. So if you have this stamp set at home, you could stamp these yellow flowers. I stamped them here on this one, but I'm not going to stamp them on this one. So completely up to you what you want to do with your card. Soft seafoam's your favorite color, huh, Chris?
Oh, I love it. Just as much as Bonnie loves mint macacross.
We all have our favorite,
And our least favorite.
not favorite colors. We all know what Chris's favorite colors would be. Any shade of purple will do.
I do like purple.
She does not like purple, guys. She's totally not a purple lover at all. So when I would design with her, I'd be like, can we use a different color? How about orange? Pink, any color but purple. And when Krista would stamp with her, she would be like, blue. I want blue. And she'd be like, how about purple? So if you're ever stamping with Chris, there's going to be a purple card in your future. Not that there's anything wrong with purple. I just have other colors I would rather use, right? Okay, so for this card, we use this really pretty kind of a stitched, I don't know what you want to call, kind of crisscrossy, looks like lattice. That's what I want to call it. So we use that on that one. I think, guys, I am going to should we do polka dots? Should we do this one? I think we'll do this one, but we'll cut it apart so that I can place it however I want. So I'm going to take, oh, is this not going to be as easy as I thought it was? I thought I could cut just straight lines. Let's see. This is what happens when you're on camera, guys. You just do. So I'm just going to kind of cut these out. I know some of you are going, I am not doing that. That's like fussy cutting, and that's okay. You don't have to. You could just put this on the way it is. But I wanted to take up more space on my arch here. And I'm not looking to cut this exactly perfect. If I cut a little corner off, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna worry about it. Because nobody will know except you guys who are watching me do this video right now that I did that. And you really don't have to really wiggle too much because there we go. So you guys can use these just as they come, or like I said, you can cut them apart to spread them out, use multiple of them together. Whichever floats your boat. Experiment. If you don't like them, then it's stuck on your page, but put a label over it, right? Okay. So we're gonna add our mat to our card. And then we're gonna start adding to our label. Which way do I wanna go? This way? This way, we'll go that way. Maybe I should lay these out, right? See where I want them before. I could place them in opposite directions, right? We could do that and get more of a herringbone look to it. That's what we'll do. We're gonna call it Wing It Wednesday here today. That should be a class, huh? Where I just wing it?
That would be my plan in the class. That's kind of like my Share Free Inspire.
Okay.
Like, I don't like winging things. I need to know what I'm doing. Just saying. How about you do that one?
Chris doesn't want to do that. She's volunteering me. So, oops. So you guys saw this stuck to my page and then I had to put this one here. So like I said, just be careful of where you want to lay these, not to have it touch the paper because they do stick really, really well. And they stick to your finger too. I lost an arrow on the tip of my finger here. There we go. So these are so much easier to use than old ones that I have worked with. And make sure not to put your finger on them because I'm taking them off. I didn't have that problem the first time. Only on TV. And I put the shorter one on. Okay. Let's see if I can put one. I'm gonna just put one right here. There we go. I fixed my design there. Like that. So I'm overcomplicating this, but you don't have to do that at home.
You're doing it so that they can see how to do
Yes. This is a teachable moment for you guys to feel free to experiment and take this stuff apart if you need to. And okay, Now we can pop up our label. Anyone have any questions about these rub-ons? Can I help anybody out with any questions? I love that I get to add a little metallic shimmer to my card here. All right, now we're gonna add the pretty stuff, the flowers, the leaves. And actually, I forgot, we're gonna take one of these leaves, this one right here, and we are going to cut this one off. Okay, and he's gonna go like that. And we'll use some glue dots here. So we just have a little stem right here. No, I forgot my marker, but I did use a marker. I used a blend, soft seafoam blend, and I used the dark one. And I colored this leaf so it was a little bit darker so you could see the difference between the two leaves. You could also take your ink pad, you could take and dip in your wink of Stella if you want to, or you can leave it plain, just like this. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my big flower. Holly, you're falling in love with these. They are fun to play with and they add a nice little element to your card. And so I'm angling this just a little bit in the corner here. And now I'll go through and start adding the rest of my goodies here. I'm just going to use a few glue dots. And tuck that like that. And here we go. This little leaf will go here. We didn't use this one. And do any of you own these at home and haven't used them yet? That would be another question for all of you. How many of you bought them and are just like, I don't know what to do with these? So we're going to put this flower here, and this one is going to go right there. Now we're going to stamp a little hello, hello, and that is from Sweet Blooms. Thank you, Melanie, for joining and sharing. I appreciate you guys sharing my videos, sharing the love. I had hello out already. And a little bit of strawberry slush. Like that. And then we have our silver twine. And I use silver because I had silver here, so I would use gold. You can use silver and gold. We're gonna use silver and gold. We're gonna keep it real. Yep, we're thinking Christmas already. July is coming. Christmas in July will be here before we all know it. I will be doing a Christmas in July card buffet So you can mark your calendars. End of July, that one will be. Both be in person and online. Yes, Holly, the rub-ons are in the catalog. They're kind of hidden. I believe they're on the page with the gems, but they're kind of off to the side. So I think it's gems or ribbon are on one side, and the rub-ons are tucked in the corner of a page down like through here. And there's just a little blurb of it. And I think a lot of people would have missed it. Those of us who went to on stage, they did have them on display there, but I know some people said that they did not see them there either. So Chris, do you have a catalog handy over here? Yeah, on the beekeepers. I know that's a silly question to ask you guys. Does Chris have a catalog? But it's whether the catalog is handy or not. That's always the question. So, when you were looking at the catalog, I'm glad you brought that up because they are, I feel like, just kind of in their own little world in the catalog. I probably passed them already. Right here. Okay, so here are the gems, and down here are the metallic sheets. So on page 124, and you can see it on this card here, they used a bunch of different like branches, they used the bark, and made different squares. And then over here they made a party hat here and put some of like the dots over here. So that's where you can find them in the catalog, and they are $13.50. And like I said, 8 sheets, 4 gold, 4 silver, 2 different designs. Hello, Rosie, coming from LA.
Oh, Rosie Crowley.
You are correct. Okay, so we're gonna tuck our little hello. Hello. I won't sing for you guys, I promise. My daughter would be rolling her eyes at me. Mom, please don't sing. So we've got that going on, and then we just need to add some gems, and I had some, but you know, they might have fallen to the floor under. Oh, they're right here in front of me. Look at that. So we'll add that to the center of our flowers here. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Ta-da! Okay, and then we have this one in silver. Silver and gold. No, we won't sing Christmas songs. Okay, let's bring in some flowers here. So this is pretty flowers. And we will add old olive. I'm going to stamp that here. My ink pad looks nice and juicy. And then we're going to bring in some lemon lolly. we have a solid image and we have a detailed image. So we're going to stamp off with our solid image. And then we'll bring in our detailed image. And we'll stamp that full strength. Cute, cute. And then we're gonna bring in Happy Birthday from Unbound Love. And stamp that on the top. Got a hot mess going on. Doesn't take long, I figure. And all of a sudden you have your desk has exploded or your table has exploded, right? Oh, I did forget to mention, we're doing okay here, knock on wood. Chris did get a notice that she might lose power. So if we go out and I don't come back on, just be aware that that may happen. This is not the first card, this is the second card, but I will show you all 4 cards at the end, Rosie. And I'll show you the comparison between the different rub-ons. You know, I've used some gold, some silver, and different ones on each card. So there we go. So here's card number 2. All right, card number 3. Now this card I'm going to talk about a little bit just because you can see up close like I'm missing pieces because I did an experiment. I really wanted to put this on ribbon and I thought this would be a great thing to put on ribbon. It did not work. I tried the white woven ribbon and it did not work on that. So just note that failed for me, but maybe you guys can get it to work. And I pressed really hard and I even took on my ribbon, my bone folder, thinking if I pressed it into the fibers really good that it would stay on, but unfortunately it did not stay on. So I was kind of sad about that because I thought, oh, that would be so cool, but maybe another time. So I'm going to take this long silver one here. And that's what I'm going to use for this one. Oops. I said I got a hot mess going on. And my phone keeps going off on me. I don't know why. So if any of you can get it to stick to ribbon or another, I mean, you could do this on window sheets. That would look really cool. I should have done that. I think of this stuff after the fact though. Okay, so now we've got all our parts and pieces here. Flowers, leaves, all sorts of goodies. So you have 2 pieces of DSP. They're gonna get layered on top of your crushed curry. Holly, yes, I do have kits available. The kits are $24 plus shipping, so there's $6 for shipping. If you guys would like things shipped with a package of Christine's, they would go in July's package. Otherwise, I will send them to you. Just if you wanted to save on shipping. So if you would like a kit, Holly, send me an email at ginalbulo@gmail.com, or you can message me on Facebook. and get me your details, and I will get you a kit. Okay, so we have that laid out. We're gonna bring in our cute little white postage stamp. So speaking of kits, these kits will be available to order until next week, Wednesday. So that is today's the 11th, so that is the 18th. So you will have until the 18th to order kits. And after that, I will get kits cut and get them shipped out. And like I said, included in these kits, you will get 2 sheets of rub-on. So you'll get 1 gold and 1 silver. And then there'll be leftovers for you to play with. So we're gonna add our centers of our pretty flowers here. And you're gonna have a leaf in here that's extra. And you're just gonna fussy cut a little bit of it off. It was out of a big leaf and I just wanted 1 leaf. So you're gonna do that. I'm gonna glue my step down. Actually, I cut this off, but I didn't cut it off. I cut the bottom off, just so you guys are aware. So we snip it off like that. We're gonna add our flowers and then we'll put our leaves on. So about there. And there. And then we'll add our leaves. Like that. So we're putting 2 big ones on the outsides. And 1 smaller one in the middle. I'm just going to tuck this just a little bit behind my purple. Okay, then you have a piece of fresh curry to go over the top. Like that. And now we're going to bring in our strip and add our rub-on. And take your, now you could cut this down, which might be what I just do. So I'll have a few extra dots left. Peel your backing off. And try not to grab it by the metallic back. And then just rub your fingers over like this. And then gently just peel it up. Now, if for some reason one is starting to come off and it's not stuck, just lay your strip back down and rub over the top of it. But like I said, these stick really, really well. Look at that, how cool. Add this to the center, go over our line here. Like that. Burnish our edges of our card. And then this will go. Our mat is ready to go on. But also make sure your strip is on straight. I'm looking at my strip wondering if it's not quite on straight. There we go. And then, I say a lot of that. Okay. This will go over here, like so. Then we have our little postage here. We're gonna put celebrate, and that also comes from Unbound Love. Celebrate, celebrate. That in the middle. And we're going to add a little bit of linen thread. We're going to wrap some linen thread behind our label. And then we'll just weave this back and forth. Like that. Cut off any extra. And this will go like that. And then maybe I forgot, or maybe I lost my little, there's these little yellow sequins. So they're in the same pack as the white ones that go on your card. So you can adhere those. We'll bring in some flowers and stamp some more. So the first set of flowers came from Pretty Florals, and this set came from Impressions of Bloom. So this one is an online exclusive. This one is in the catalog. And I think and I didn't bring Impressions of Bloom. I just brought this one. Good morning, Miss Carmen. How was your drive home? Carmen got to join us for fun in the sun. So we'll put this little stem right here. And we're gonna do a strawberry slush flower. The Chatty Cathy's this morning. We're gonna stamp off here. And we're gonna add our detailed flower. Like that. Maybe I stamped it wrong. No, it's right. Okay. And we'll do a happy, happy birthday. Birthday wishes. Happy birthday. I need to wash. So if you ever find that your photopolymer stamps don't stick to your blocks, just rinse them off in water. They collect fuzz, they collect, you know, different things from paper fibers, things like that. So just rinse them under some nice warm water, and you'll get your stickiness back. I need to do that with a couple of my stamp sets actually. So our insides are done, and as always, don't forget to stamp your envelopes. You had a good drive, that's good. Hopefully you weren't too tired when you got back, Carmen. There you go. So, card number 3 done. So this is the difference. You can use the gold stripes, or you can use the silver dots, or you can pick whatever other rub-on you want, but I thought these long ones were perfect to create a nice long border. And for our final card, we brought in Cheers and Sips. Now this was also a rub-on that I cut apart. So it's actually this rub-on right here. I feel like I need to sneeze. Maybe not. Maybe so. Okay, so I cut each one of these out individually, and then I placed them where I wanted to on the paper. So that's how we did that one. I think we're going to use some, I have some dots on one of these, so I think I'm going to use dots. Okay, so we have a Timid Tiger base. You're always tired when you get back. When I travel too, I seem to be super tired too. And you should take a day off to rest. That I totally agree with you. So you have a piece of white for your inside. And you've got drinks. You've got an umbrella, label. You will have to fussy cut your drinks a little bit. So we'll do that right away since I have it out. But I promise you, your drinks are pretty easy to fussy cut. I always like to take a day off when I travel back and get caught up on laundry and usually some groceries, and kind of just get my head back in the game of things. And how long of a drive do you have, Carmen? That was what I was gonna guess. Chris said 5.5 or so. I was gonna guess 5 to 6. So okay. So now let's get those dots out. And I think I'm using. I'm gonna use these silver dots right here. So we've got these little splatter pieces. I'm gonna cut this out. And I'm going to hopefully 5.5. Okay, yeah, that's a good long trip. I'm going to try to do this without cutting this apart. But if you feel more confident in cutting sections out and then putting it on, feel free to do that. But I'm actually, because there's dots and I cover a lot of this up with my drinks, I'm going to wait. We're gonna wait and then put this on. And then Angelique has another 1.5-hour drive from that. Okay, yeah, that's a long day of driving. Carmen says hello.
Hi.
So you've got 2 strips of DSP here. put those on our edges here. Okay, and then we'll bring our drinks in. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm kind of not putting these on here straight. We're kind of angling them because that's what I do. Why put them on here straight, right? And then you have a little umbrella, and if you don't have this stamp set, that's okay. Just put the umbrella on as is. But I like this little umbrella. It's cute. Okay. So we stamped our little umbrella, and while I have this out, we have a little, this is lemon. You got all this little fruit in here and some ice cubes. So we're gonna add a lemon, or maybe we're gonna add an orange because I have a lemonade. This one I had an orange one. So maybe we're gonna go with lemonade or a lime. Maybe we'll go with a lime. Okay, we're gonna hope for the best. When they're little like this, sometimes I like to just place them over the top like that. I feel it's easier to stamp then. So we've got our little lime, and I'm going to color it in a little bit with my Wink of Stella. And I'm going to dip my pen in here and color this line a little bit darker. Like so. Bella had fun. She was in the stamp room with me stamping, and she was coloring lemons and limes. She was having a little fun with that. I think it was really the Wink of Stella pen, but it's my favorite thing too. So I'm going to cut my line in half. We're going to bring our umbrella in. We're going to add it to our drink over here. Just like that. And now I'm going to bring in my ribbon. We're going to add those little spots here. So now I'm holding it up because I only want some dots here and there and there. So I'm trying to make this as random as possible. Like that. Remember, your label is going to go right here a little bit, so you're going to cover some of that. And I think might have a few little speckles in here, so we're just going to rub them on. Whatever I have left on here. There we go. So like I said, I didn't put this all the way down. I just put sections of it down and rubbed it a little bit, and then you get those little cool splatters. But if you didn't feel confident and you were afraid you were going to put too much down, feel free to cut that apart and put the random spots all over by laying it on there. Okay? So we're going to bring in our little sentiment. And we're going to put celebrate, or no, cheers. This one is cheers. Cheers to you. Stamped in my favorite timid tiger. Okay, so now we're gonna adhere this to our card base. Look at these pretty colors on the other side. Just like that. And then we're going to add our ribbons. We got some cloud cover here. So I hope I have encouraged you guys to fall in love with these rub-ons because they add such a nice, fun detail to your cards. And I'm just going to weave this back and forth. It's kind of a thick ribbon for this tiny little label, but we make it work. And then we're ready to put our label on. And actually, I'm going to double pop on one end because I have my drink popped up already, so it's already elevated. But to make these even so that my label looks like it's on here straight, I should actually, there's so much ribbon in the middle and not a lot on my edges. And I had this before, but I'm going to take a little strip and put it along the edges. So it wants to flop back and forth along with the piece that I just cut. so I'm actually going to put this guy on here before I put my label now, because I got a lot of dimensionals going on. So I've got that. There, I feel better about that. Okay. So you got 1/2 of your lime. It's gonna go tucked in at the top of your label. Then we're gonna take the other half and tuck it by our drink. Like this. And then we have these beautiful in color gems. These, they're like pearls, iridescent pearls. Add them. So I put one on my umbrella, and actually I'm gonna leave that one right there. That's where the glue dot stuck. So there we go, we have that. Now we'll stamp our inside. I'm gonna put that little line down here. We'll color it in. Bring in my Wink of Stella to color the and then there we have that, and a happy birthday wishes we'll put in here. And there we go. Add this to the inside of our card. You can see my hot mess of backings and dimensionals right here. Okay, so there we go. All right, so these 4 cards are done. And like I said, I used different ones. So out of 2 sheets, you still have left all of this. And there might be a little one or something laying around, but so you still will have all of this left over to make more cards when you're done. How exciting is that, right? So our 4 cards are here, and I thought I'd show you the difference between this one we use the dots and this one we use kind of the little stars. I thought the little stars were great because they kind of matched the DSP background. And then this one, we use the silver dots here and the gold here. And some of my gold is coming off because I had tried to stick it to ribbon, but that didn't work. So that was a bit of a fail, but that's okay. That's how we learn. And then we have the lattice and then the gold parts that I took apart and lined up. I wanted it just a little bit bigger. My label's coming. So we have that card. And our final card, there was a strip that you could use, and we used the dots on this one. So kits will be available for this class until the 18th. They are $24 plus shipping. I will be here live again on Friday at 1 o'clock. And we'll be doing the Celebrate Together workshop kit class. We'll be making 6 alternative pages along with 5 cards that go with that set. If you guys ever have any questions, or let's say I forgot something in your shipment, if I ever forget a ribbon or gems or, you know, a piece of cardstock, please always reach out to me. I'm usually pretty good about that, but accidents happen, or sometimes when I enlist the help of my family, I don't always, I try to double check, but sometimes errors happen, and you go with it. They're not intentional, but you know, they happen. And so reach out if you need any questions answered. I lost my train of thought there. And as always, you guys can find me on Facebook. That's where I keep everything updated for now. Glitter and Ink with Gina. So make sure you're following me there, and email me with any questions at ginaalbulo@gmail.com. So in the meantime, have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys on Friday. Thank you.